All right. So guys, today I've got Tim Butler. Tim, thank you so much for jumping on with me. I reached out to Tim a few days ago, I think, because I watched his interview with Troy, who's the founder of CourseCareers. And it's just amazing, not only what Troy's doing over there, but what his students are doing. And thank you so much for jumping on, because I know that my subscribers, my followers, people that watch this channel, one of the big things, and you and I were talking about this before we hit record, is that anybody can get a job, right? You can go and there's tons of jobs out there, but a career, right, that's a little different. And it used to be you had to go to college, right? You had to go to college. You got to learn to be an accountant or a doctor or a lawyer, or you got to get a business degree. And then, you got to know somebody, or you got to do this, or you got to do that. But that's just not the way it is anymore. But it doesn't mean you just go out and find, right, a high paying position. You got to have a specialized skill set, like tech sales, like IT, cybersecurity, digital marketing, which is what I do, right? I'm a digital marketer. I've been doing it since 2017. So Tim, thanks for jumping on. And if you could just give us a little bit of background about you. I know that you were working in healthcare and you had your own business, or maybe you still do, and just take me up into the point of how you discovered this training and how you got this new position you're in now.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I came across your channel a while ago as well, when I was actually in the process before I even started CourseCareers, fun fact. Just looking at stuff like, hey, other like side gigs or side hustles and stuff, and then one of your videos were like a recommendation. But nonetheless, I do have a healthcare background in recruiting. So it was for the travel nursing industry. I did that for about 8 years or so. It was pretty fun. It was lucrative and stuff like that. Ironically, it was extremely lucrative, especially during the COVID-19. And it was fun. But my roller coaster out of there just sank down a little bit, and I just was ready for a change, a different challenge, something that's going to help elevate me, something in which that I had upward mobility, and something I was just more in tune with. And that's when I came across CourseCareers, and literally came across CourseCareers, watched all the interviews such as this or things like this, similar, and was like, hey, this sounds like something that's going to be fun, something that's going to be lucrative, but I didn't want it to just jump right in and thinking that it's going to be this magical pill to just change my life, because I knew that nothing's like that, right? So I just kept doing my research, which I recommend everybody to do. Keep doing your research, because this is not for everybody. It's something I do inform everyone, not to discourage everybody, but this is not, it's not for everybody. But it comes down to how much, like, what your end goal is, what you want to get out of it, and if you want that challenge or how bad you want it, I would say, essentially. Long story short, I found the course on there, went through the practice course, enrolled, and probably within like a month in, not even a month, about a month in, only because I was procrastinating, taking my time, and I do run my own business loan brokerage, which I do still have. It took a little longer for me to finish it because I'm running my business and doing healthcare recruiting plus taking the course. So I was very determined, but nonetheless, in about a month before I've been finished, then I landed my role.
So obviously you're a smart guy. You were a traveling nurse, you said?
Travel nurse recruiter. I was a manager of travel nurses.
All right. So finding nurses.
Yes, sir.
Recruiting. Yeah. Because I talk a lot about recruiting positions on here, because a lot of these big recruiting companies, they have admin jobs, customer service, things like that. So were you actively on the hunt for something different? What is it about tech sales, about CourseCareers, or just tech sales in general that made you want to pursue it? Because it sounded like you already had something going on.
Yeah. And the job, like I said, it was actually pretty fun. I did it for a long time. It was actually very lucrative. So it wasn't like a knock on the industry or nothing like that. I just wanted to change. And my background in college was actually health service administration and business management. So that's how I went that path. And just after a while, I actually was not even on the look for a job. I just wanted to just level up, really. And my goal is always to be able to prosper and just do something more. And once I get too comfortable somewhere, then there's a problem for me personally. That's just how I view things. And I was open. I still do my job and stuff like that. And then ultimately, it's just IT or tech, stuff like that. I always thought you needed some type of certification. You needed to do some coding or do some schooling. And in college, I did do a MISC course, but that stuff was like, the coding course was very overwhelming. I barely passed that thing. I barely passed it. And I just was a little bit discouraged and a little just like afraid of joining tech, essentially. I thought it was going to be something that's too challenging for the average person to get into unless you had a college degree or something. And I thought it was all technology, meaning, hey, coding and you're developing pages and stuff like that. I didn't realize there's a sales side to it or a customer service side to it. So once I saw that, I was like, I don't need this. I don't need I have a degree in college, don't get me wrong, but I don't need a specific degree for tech. and I don't need any type of certifications or prior experience to get into the position or the role, hey, sign me up after I did my research, of course.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because I know that there's a lot of people that, you know, back to talking about careers, right? There's a lot of people who are looking for a career, right? And a lot of people go to college, they know exactly what they want. They don't even teach this stuff in college. Like, you couldn't get this education that you got with the training in a college, right?
Yeah, unless you were in some very niche community outside or a extracurricular class or something like that, or community that they created on the side, but nothing you're going to probably pay to enroll into.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's important, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know how, if they did it at your school. I know that when I went to college, of course, as we were joking around earlier, way back when, but you'd be walking across campus one day and there'd just be like a bunch of tents set up, and there'd be like a company over here and a company over there and a company over there. But they weren't specifically looking for any kind of specific skill set. They were just trying to get fresh meat in the door. I don't know if did you have that kind of thing at school where they were recruiting people, but they weren't really looking for specific skill set? They were basically trying to get entry-level people in the door, more or less.
Yeah, there's a few career fair opportunities on campus. And then you had like your ones looking for specific nurses or engineers and stuff. But most of it is broad. Like, hey, if you have a degree, you have a heartbeat, then come on, we'll take it. So. Yeah. And I remember Enterprise Rent-A-Car was big. And I had a lot of friends that went to work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I did that too.
Did you do that? Yeah.
I did before healthcare.
And they worked 6 days a week, 6 days on, 1 day off, 12, 13 hours a day. And it was the same thing, promise of the moon and the stars, but it was a lot of hustle, a lot of grind, which is nothing wrong with that. It would take you 10, 15 years to get the kind of income that you're making now in tech sales.
Oh, 100%. And just to piggyback on what you said, I did it. Like, as a newbie coming in as a manager in training, essentially you'll come on and you have the worst shift. You usually night shift, closing and stuff like that. You did have to. I was at an international airport, so you had to work all the holidays, snow, rain, sleet, no matter the case may be. And you're there, and you're usually locking up and closing as well. And the upward mobility, there's so many people, and I wouldn't say saturated, but there's people who are in these roles, and the only way you're going to get that role is if this person goes to a different industry, a different company, because you're at the top there's no point of leaving because you're not going to find anything more lucrative. They provide cars, the gas, etc., and those people are they have their people, their mentees or whatever the case may be. It was very challenging. It's fun. It's a gateway to sales and things of that sort and communication, but it wasn't. It's not the ideal life for me. So I actually did enterprise rent-a-car as well as healthcare recruiting initially. And then I just said, I'm done with enterprise and just switched on over to healthcare. That's how it happened. So it was a smooth sale.
Yeah. So now tell me, because I know a lot of people want to know. So with the tech training at CourseCareers, it was, how long did it take you to complete the training? Was it, I think you said on the 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Or is it longer than that?
It took about a month only because I was procrastinating. However, if I just went through the modules and stuff, it was literally like a week and a half to go through it. But then what I kept psyching myself out and going back to make sure I knew the information, because again, like I run my own business loan brokerage. So I would do this and do that and jump back and make sure I had the information, because there is little quizzes and stuff that help you get prepared for the final exam and stuff like that. And the way my brain works, I need to have all the information at one time without the blocks and the stops. And I was stopping a lot. So it took about 3 weeks. Sure. So
and this is something I'm curious about, because obviously you went to school, you had a good job, you had your own business. Do you feel that, could you tell right away when you started going through this training, hey man, this is the real deal? Like, I'm learning stuff that's going to help me land a job. Take us through what your thoughts are on that, and then maybe give us a little idea of what's involved in the training. Because I heard you just say you had to take a final exam. So people, that might scare people. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, to answer your first question, ultimately, I actually knew that it was worth the cost and the price, and knew I was going to get my end goal before I actually took the course. Yeah. And that was only because I did all of my research. I'm just one of those people who over excel at doing my research, watch the reviews, reach out to other people asking questions. There's a practice course in which you can enroll in and just ask questions. And there just couldn't be possibly this many people who are having positive reviews, because you're a little skeptic at first. Positive reviews and all these type of interviews and things like this on your page as well as Troy's page and stuff like that. And they're all positive essentially. And I was like, I knew then. And I just, for me and my personality, I just knew as soon as I get my foot in the door, then I'm going to utilize my own skills as well as whatever the course is going to provide to me and go in.
Yeah.
For your second question is, once I got in the course, there's actually a lot of stuff that I already knew essentially because I was a recruiting manager. So I was in a sales role. However, a lot of stuff in the course brought up things I forgot. They enhanced my skills and they actually helped stack onto the skills I already had as well. So once I was already convinced before I bought into the course, and once I got into the course, it just helped give me that extra leverage of confidence. And if you follow these steps, the modules step by step, then you're going to be fine essentially. But there is a trick at the end, which I inform other people on my page, is just that you do have to do the work though. Just because you do the course doesn't mean you're going to land a job. So I just want to be very transparent with people. Hey, I'm going to take the course and I'm going to get a job automatically. No, the work starts with you initially, AKA starting the course and then going in and doing your research and stuff like that. So there's modules, there's trainings, there's videos, there's books in which that are recommended and stuff like that. Sure. And I'm not sure Troy wanted me to say this, but I didn't even read the books. I need to read the books. There's recordings on like line and stuff like that. YouTube University, AKA your page. You can learn anything on there. When I was practicing and stuff like that, I just went on, I went on like YouTube, found the information I needed, read that information, the entire books. I eventually bought the books, but after, because they are very useful. But I just did that. There's modules, there's courses, there's stuff that's going to help you to memorize terms as well as sales terms and type of CRMs and things of that sort. So that's going to help you. Long story short, the course specifically gives you the exact details and information you're going to utilize for a SDR, BDR role, literally.
Okay. And for people who don't know, so SDR would be sales development representative.
Yes.
And I think what's important to let people know too is that like you said before, right? You got to put in the work. You got to do it. Obviously, the training works. People are getting jobs. Is everybody getting a job? No. But people are getting jobs, and there's tons of success stories. Yours is one. I watched your interview with Troy. I was like, I got to talk to Tim. This is great. But I think also what's important for people to know is what's different between this training and other trainings or going to school is that CourseCareers has connections with businesses, right? And again, this doesn't mean you're guaranteed a job. And that brings me to the price, right? People always ask, it's $500, right, for the tech sales course, and you can take the free training. There's also a payment plan, which is insane. And people may say, you probably thought the same thing, right? You thought, why is this thing so cheap? Why is it only $500 when such and such college is charging $25,000? And I think the big thing is, and I want to hear what you have to say about it, is the connections that Troy has built. And that's why he's able to provide an affordable price for people, is because he also is acting as like a recruiter on the other side. He's partnering with these companies, and he's preparing you guys, saying, I know what these companies want and I'm going to teach you. Now you got to land the job, right? I'm going to do whatever I can to help you, but you ultimately are going to be the face and you got to do it.
And I would say, just to give Troy his props, he's a genius. What he's doing is, this is just the beginning, honestly, just based off my point of view, my perception of it all. The way he's building this up and setting up is perfect. And it's to the point that he doesn't even have to raise the price either, because it's going to be so efficient to continue to grow. And the things he's doing on the backside is where he has his living and stuff like that at. But what he's doing is amazing. Ultimately, the price was all because people base value on information based on the price of something. And you say, I can get for me, like a 6-figure career and for $500 essentially. Like, that's a little skeptical, but that's when you do the work. The beautiful thing about this is that Troy was once in this seat, essentially looking for a tech role or breaking into tech. So you have hands-on from somebody who was in your seat, knows the roles, how to navigate through things. So he teaches that in his course. In addition to that, he's done the the front work. And you're not only just doing a course when you're joining the program, you're joining a community. And in addition to the community, if you so happen to do the work and graduate in the community, he already has partnerships with actively hiring companies who are looking specifically for you who just completed the course.
Yeah.
I don't see how it gets any much better than that. I'm coming to your page. I do an interview with you. I do have the certification from coming to your page here. And next, I get to be put in a pool where now is my time to shine, show my creativity. And then employers get a chance to navigate through resumes and LinkedIn profiles and figure out who they want to interview and stuff like that.
Yeah. And this is another thing. I was from the time you completed the course to the time you landed your position. How long was that?
It took about 3, what, started the course and landed the job?
Well, yeah, from the time you finished the course and then landed.
Course.
Yeah.
I got the job before I finished the course.
You did?
Yeah.
And what was the pay initially?
The pay for my job?
Yeah. What was your pay, if you're able to share that?
I can't display that actual salary, but my salary is pretty close to 100K, but my OTE is 150K.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's just like being modest.
Got it. So now you're on track to do 150K.
Yes, or more.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane. I was talking with somebody earlier. I think I was talking with my wife. I was telling her about you and I were jumping on the call, and I was saying, when I graduated college, I thought my college degree was, that's it. I'm going to make a lot of money. This is great. I got a college education. No, that was not the case. It would have taken me 20 years to get that kind of income if I had stayed with the same company. Let's say I got out of college and I got the job. Okay, this is it. I'm going to stay with you guys forever. If I do the math in my head, I would have been there 15, 20 years before I even broke 6 figures.
Right.
Which is crazy. Yeah, absolutely insane. Real quick, and I meant to ask you this earlier, but we got off track, and then I'll let you go because I know you're busy. Can you just take us through a day in your job? What do you do? How does it work? So people understand, who might be, for my audience, who might be interested in a tech career and a tech sales career, because I want to make sure they have as much information. I know this isn't right for everybody. What is a typical day? What can you expect? What are the pros? And give us some of the cons.
Yeah, the typical day for me, so the CourseCareers in the sales tech course is going to teach you how to be a SDR or BDR. I'm actually neither one of those. I got a BDM position, business development manager.
Okay.
To put that in perspective, I do both the SDR and BDR role. So a BDM in my industry is essentially both together. I'm hunting for pain, which is ultimately finding new clients and stuff like that. I'm in healthcare still, by the way,
cool.
on the tech side. And I'm finding pain with new clients as well as eventually like closing those deals. So I'm setting up meetings and closing deals. Whereas for a SDR and a BDR, I take that back. SDR and BDR are essentially the same. And then there's an AE. I'm an AE essentially and a BDR SDR. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm both of those. And I'm set up meetings as well as closing on our sales and stuff like that, or our technology and things of that, and our services. And a day in the life for me would essentially come in.
And by come in, you mean your own house, right?
Yeah, so I can work from home, but my office is literally walking distance from my house. So I go into the office. This is just me and the VP in there, actually.
Okay.
So I choose to go into the office where I could work remotely if I wanted to. Today I was at home. Today I'm home. But I'm just going to get in a call with you. But yeah, I can go in the office or I can stay home. And there's some people have flex and stuff like that. Or some people have 100% remote. Mine is essentially whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
So if I want to go in, I go in. But I feel like I get more information and knowledge from working hand in hand with the VP, who's pretty much shown me the ropes of everything. And that's one of the things why I fell in love with the position and chose the position that I do have in the company as well. But to get back on it, I'm coming in, or I'm waking up, I'm looking at my calendar, I'm looking at the meetings in which that I do already have set up and make sure those are still on plan. I'm also going through our CRM and stuff like that, our Zoom info, making sure I'm connecting with the decision makers at these hospitals and facilities in which that I can set up a meeting. I just need a good 10 to 15 minutes to get you on the call, tell you what we're about. But that initial call is about 27 seconds to maybe a minute to inform them of, not even inform them, to ask them questions in which that pain points to see if we can even relate in some type of fashion. Sure. And based on those questions, I'm going to get a yay or nay or somewhere in the middle. And now is my point to do my special skills in which to try to see if I can convince them to get like a 15-minute meeting. I'm very not salesy, just to the point. It's very communicative, just like this, and making sure that they're comfortable, I'm comfortable, but make sure I'm reading the room via phone. So nonetheless, I'm doing that, set up meetings, and ultimately it's going down a list in which that I have my priorities of 1,000. I break that down to 100, down to 50, down to 25 of priority lists, and go through there. And through the day, I had the opportunity to make my own blocks throughout the day. There's no one telling me what to do essentially each day. So I get to make my own everything every day. So I make my own blocks. And if that didn't work, I switch it up, get advice, switch it up this and stuff like that. Although LinkedIn, emails, and calls. And the challenges I would say is that the sales cycle for me is a challenge. Whereas for in the recruiting, it was 2 to 3 weeks or so. But this is 30, 60, 90 day cycle and stuff like that. So that's a little challenging. And believe it or not, I'm camera shy, But
I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I really am. I'm actually nervous when I just talk. That's why I'm always just jittery. I speak very fast. But nonetheless, get on the call. It'll take some confidence to get on those calls and break that habit of get on the calls. Whereas I was so in tune with my last career in healthcare, I had such a big book of business and knew exactly what I can do. I could send some texts out to some people and get some information or get referrals. Where now I'm in a new industry, which I didn't have a clue with on the other side of, because I was on the recruiting side, now I'm on the sales side, essentially. And it's just all new to me. But so now I'm getting out of my comfort zone and get on the calls. But I like the challenge, though. Like I said earlier, I don't be in a career. I don't want to be too complacent. So I'm now in a position where I have that challenge to develop new skills in which I didn't have at the last one. And I'm doing something that's going to challenge me that I can take with me no matter where I go. And I'd be so comfortable with just sending out the text like I was at the other place, or just sending out an email. Yeah. So that's the challenge. But the challenge is also a plus, in my opinion. That's just how I
Yeah. And this is the last question. I'll let you go because I know you're busy. Thank you so much. But do you feel that you're in a good position as far as your future, as far as your growth? Like, do you see growth? Because I think this is important for people. And again, I've said it a million times, back to job versus career. You get a job, you're going to be living paycheck to paycheck the rest of your life. Career, right? You want to be able to think 3 years, 5 years, 10 years ahead. So there's growth for you in this position, whether it's, what would be the typical next steps for you?
My next
position and growth and
and just not to go too long, but just to reiterate on that, is like, I didn't take the role unless there was upward mobility. I didn't take the role unless there was the proper leadership that I wanted to work under. I didn't take the role unless I was a community and a system or an environment in which I wanted to be a part of and I can grow and expand within. So that's something for your audience, if you are hunting out there for a job, or not even a job, a career like we're talking about, make sure it's something that suits you morally and ethically as well. You don't want to just jump into anything. If you're in a needy position or something like that, I understand. Do what you have to do, but make sure at the same time you have that job, you're leveling up and finding something that's going to be more suitable for you if you're in a time crunch or money, because, the economy's crazy right now. But nonetheless, I needed a good leader. I needed somewhere where I felt valued. I needed somewhere where I could be heard. I needed to be somewhere in which that there was upward mobility and growth, and something that's going to challenge me. Those things are the most important to me. So with that being said, the upward mobility is unlimited, essentially. And then the more I develop my territories and stuff like that, I can then start hiring recruiters to manage those. I can start doing account managers to manage those for me as well, while I'm still developing new territories. And I can then hire more people like me in my territories to help develop and build new business. And then I have my account managers to manage those. And I have my recruiters to continue to bring in coders and stuff like that. So the upside of that is unlimited. And there's nobody above me except the VP, essentially. So we're a huge company, but we're a small team. So if we were to grow, there's no more up me in the sky. It's essentially the limit. It's a very valuable and a very important and very blessed opportunity in which that I have. And it came at the right time. The communication, the leadership is unmatched. I don't think a lot of people get as lucky as I did with the leadership of my direct manager is the VP, who wants to see me win, who is a great leader, who gives you insight more than just job information. It's personal advice. Me as a young man, things I can do to carry myself properly and things like that. I think that's very important for people. And another thing too, a lot of people do get scared. Age is not a question in this industry as well, just to put that out there. It doesn't matter. As long as you have the determination to do it, you can join it.
Thank you. Were you talking to me there? Or
no, wink. Anybody can get in if you have the determination and the willpower to do it. So.
Yeah, no, I love that. And we'll wrap it up here because I know your time is valuable. But the last thing I wanted to point out is what you said, and I hope people heard that, and this is really important, is you were interviewing them just as much as they were interviewing you, right? Which is smart, because they could offer you the best package in the world, but if you're stuck there and there's nowhere else to go, you're going to be looking for another job in a year or two. Think long term, think career, and I think it's just such an amazing opportunity. And again, showing my age, we didn't have this opportunity when I was in my 20s. And I always joke around with my audience, we didn't have the internet. I had to go down to the library and reserve what it was like a data entry machine, and the paper would come out perforated. And anyways,
this is before my time right there.
But yeah, thank you so much, Tim. And guys, if you want to learn more about CourseCareers and go through the same path that Tim did, literally Tim started with the free intro course, which is amazing because you can figure out, hey, this is right for me or this is not right for me. And then you can take it from there, right? I'll put the link below. You guys could check out Careers today, learn more about it. Also, I'm going to put Tim's contact information below, not his personal information, but if you guys want to connect, if you want to connect with Tim, I want to thank you so much. We'll put his information below. Again, Tim, thank you so much. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon, everybody.